G'day and welcome to Daily Insights and Storytellings with me, Moon Willow. While I think about it, I'll do the housekeeping first. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoy my ramblings today, hit the thumbs up. If you don't, hit the thumbs down. I won't be offended. It's just a part of some algorithm. I would like to say I understood it. Yeah, no, I don't. So... thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I find that no matter whether the energies are good, bad, or indifferent out there, I'm really enjoying the energy of this and doing this, and it really it feels almost like quite blissful. I have absolutely no idea when I come on to hear what I'm going to talk about, and I suppose being a Gemini, that possibly helps me to take the story wherever it feels like it needs to go. And I really don't have any idea as to which crystal is going to come out of the bag or the cards that are going to want to be read. I was really intrigued yesterday to have that new card come out because it's quite a thick pack, and for all that we've done it for several weeks, there seem to be the same ones that keep coming out. So the weekend was quite dark and yesterday felt a lot brighter, but it feels like for the past 24 hours, well, especially today really, it's almost like there's a roller coaster going off, and it's like the energies are sort of washing. One moment it feels like sort of like quite happy, uplifting energy, and then all of a sudden it sort of dips down again. So it almost feels like we are feeling, or I'm feeling, a battle that's going off on another level. So sort of very much sort of like what I've been talking about, sort of the light coming in for the fifth dimensional movement, and then being counterbalanced and counterattacked almost by the darker energies. So it has that sort of real push me, pull me feel to it. And it's sometimes really difficult to feel grounded within that. And it's really important that we do that. And it's very easy to miss that, especially if you're feeling wobbled. It's like, I just want to get through the day. I don't want to do that. And actually, by taking that time, that self-care, and connecting to Gaia, putting up your shields and feeling protected, makes it easier to negotiate everything that's coming in my experience. So I'm just putting that out there for some reason. And I'm not having anything else particularly come through other than I really love storytelling. So I'm really pleased that you are joining me on a regular basis. So on that note, we'll see what crystal's coming up today. So we've got this beautiful piece of banded amethyst. So it's very much about the third eye. And on a general basis, and the reason why I use these crystals lining up with chakras is that I generally know what each chakra is talking about. But what I do find when I'm doing these is it's not so much my mind goes blank, it's like the information that comes through doesn't always match up with my memory of it. So please bear with me. But for me, the amethyst today is very much saying that we have, if we go within and not use our 3D eyes, but actually having a look from a highest perspective and actually noticing, if we take that step up, noticing that if we don't get involved, we can actually find an easier way of flowing through the current energies. It's almost like being a sort of a more secure boat on top of a choppy sea. But we can actually sort of use our discernment and notice what's going off. So if we don't get caught in our lower chakras with everything that's presented to us, we can actually see what's going off underlying it and actually be more able to make better decisions, or not have such a huge emotional response to things, so that we can navigate more easily what's going off. It's also very much that we have got an inner knowing, and it's very much about sort of the reasons why we chose to be born into this world, in this current family, in this current situation. And if we get out of our own way, so if we get out of our lower chakras and actually embrace the fact that our soul's chosen to do this, we can actually manage to have a slightly easier time. That's my hope anyway. So we'll see what else comes up in relation to the cards. So if you could focus on the cards for me as I shuffle. I'm not sure whether to play with that one or not. It really wanted to come out, didn't it? So I think we'll use that one as the first one. And then we will cut for the other two. So that one that literally flew was the Coffin, the Man, and the Polar Bear. So let's hold them up together. So the Coffin, starting with the Coffin is very much like the Death card in Tarot, for those of you who are familiar with the various decks that are out there. And these cards are loosely based on the more popular tarot decks that have been around for centuries. But I like these because the imagery is quite simple, and it gives freedom for thoughts and ideas and different stories to sort of come through, and I have a feeling about what it is that needs to be said. So the Coffin is death, but it's not like in tarot. It's not actually to do with a physical death, but in a way it is actually, because with what's happening in the world, from my understanding, what's happening in the world at the moment, and I mentioned it before, is that we've got the light coming in from the fifth dimension, and then we've got sort of like the more darker murkiness of the third dimensional, and we are proceeding towards this shift. So it's like some people be walking sort of what's known as a fifth dimensional path and a higher vibrational sense and light coming in, and others will choose to stay in the third dimensional of sort of this really molasses type feeling and sense that we're not good enough and things like that. And that's a very simplified idea around it, but I don't want to sort of go off on a tangent at the moment, although I do that. But it's letting go of the concept that we're going to go back to normal, because I think most of us on here have realised that that ship has sailed completely, that that's not going to be possible no matter what they decide to bring in, that actually too much has changed, and there's been too many smoke and mirrors this year to actually comfortably go back to the way things were, because it was all an illusion then. It just seems to be a heightened illusion now. So it's letting go of that idea and that sense that things are actually going to go back to the way they were. It's also freeing up. It's also letting go of the concept that we're right, they're wrong, that sort of thing as well, and actually embracing the fact that from our own point of view, our own standpoint, we're all right. We just perceive things in a different way. And it's also for me as well, especially sort of tying it up to the third eye, is letting go of all those story patterns from the lower chakra. That constant, we do need to integrate, and I'm not suggesting for a second we don't, but also as we shed through old belief patterns and old ways of being, actually enabling them to either go up to source or down into Gaia to be transmuted, that the energy's changed. So we're not sort of dragging that old belief system or that old energetic field constantly going forward, that we actually let it go so that we can shift up into a higher vibrational space, really. So we've got the man, so very much about the masculine. So I've been talking a lot about divine feminine, and I know that in a couple of my readings we've sort of looked on and touched on the masculine. And there is always a temptation that if the pendulum swung one way too far, we try and take it back too far the other way. So to try and readdress the balance. So there is a real temptation at the moment to just focus completely on the feminine. But it's, again, going back to a balance. And it's not about the death of the masculine, although there seems to be, and my feel is going forward, that as we move into that next era, or age, that patriarchy and patriarchal societies won't be as prevalent. I hope so. But it's not to get rid of the masculine. It's not to turn men into downtrodden, or the masculine into a negative or a downtrodden a species, really, or idea or feeling. It's actually the yin and yang. It's that balance, and it's the death of the way the masculine was, and liberating it and enabling it to actually have those aspects of the feminine at the same time, and enabling that to merge. So in a way it is the death of the masculine, but it's not in the let's kill it off completely, but how do we merge and integrate that to actually go forward? Because the masculine and the logical side is needed. We need to be able to see through both eyes. And it's like, from the third eye perspective, it's actually seeing through the bullshit, basically, and actually taking a step up and looking through, and noticing when the masculine was actually more prevalent, and the way that that's taken us down a particular route, and acknowledging that we had all consensusly agreed to going down that route on whatever level. But now it's time to shift up a gear. Now it's time to actually integrate the masculine back in a different way, so that we still have the understanding and the logic, but not in such a pragmatic or forceful way. But actually it is at the same time smoothed out slightly by the feminine and the more emotional, so it actually flows better, but in a structured way at the same time. And then we have Mama Bear. I always call her Mama Bear for whatever reason. But it's, so in doing this and actually protecting our vision for the future, as well as what's just come in for me. So there's a lot of people at the moment who are open to the fifth dimension, wanting to bring bring about a world that is more loving, more nurturing, more compassionate, more full of unconditional love, that we actually respect everything and each other. So it's, and I think this is a beautiful idea, and it's one that I would like to be able to bring in as well. But it's very much, sometimes if we talk about it too soon, if we've got ideas that we want to bring out into the world, that we can visualize here and we can put forward as to what we're aiming for, if that comes out a bit too soon, then the naysayers can end up tearing it to bits, because we haven't got a fully formed idea. We have that nebulous sense of what it is we're looking for or what it is we're heading for, but we haven't quite got the words enough to articulate it or manifest it in a specific way as of yet, because the more fluid the manifestation or idea of manifestation is, the easier it is for the universe to provide it, really. Because if we become very fixed, it's back to a destination or the journey. If we become too fixed on the destination or too fixed on the outcome, we're not enabling the universe to actually put something in that is actually better or more beneficial to us or the world that we're trying to create. So it's actually protecting these nebulous ideas and actually protecting ourselves in the process as well. It's quite, especially with all the different energies coming in, we can get blown around. We can very much be that boat on the sea and get all choppy and get blown around on a regular basis, as opposed to actually protecting ourselves, grounding into Gaia, connecting up with Source, getting all that extra energy and security and shielding that we can, so that we can negotiate whatever comes our way, really. And also see more clearly through the clouds of smoke and the smoke and mirrors, and discern where the smoke and mirrors are. And it might be one smoke and mirror for me and a different smoke and mirror for yourselves out there. But unfortunately, they do feel like they exist at the moment, and some people can see it more clearly than others. And again, I'm not saying that anyone's right or wrong. It's just how we need to feel into it and how we perceive it as to what resonates for us going forward. So I'm hoping that that's resonating for someone out there. So with our banded, I love amethyst, I really do. It's just such a beautiful crystal, and I love it with the sort of more cloudy aspects on the top. So I'll find today's vocalization and energy sound. Again, I'm not entirely sure where it comes from, and I just hope that it, as I say, it resonates out there. But it does feel really important for me to add this at the end. So I'm not going to unpick it, I'm just going to go with it. So we'll see where it's coming from today, or what sort of noise is coming through today. Noise, sound, whatever. Well, that sounded like it vibrated a bit. So anyway, thank you ever so much for joining me again today. I really appreciate it. If you would like to organise an individual reading with me and having where I can have a look at the storytelling and the cards a little bit more closely for yourself, don't hesitate to contact me either through my website or Facebook, Instagram or LinkedIn. I think that's all of them covered. I am contemplating Twitter, but give me at least another, 6 years. It's taken a while to get as far as I have, to be fair. So thank you ever so much for joining me again today. I really appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Love you all. Bye.